Hello and thanks for stopping by. This is Evil Dead, Fistful of Boomstick for the Xbox, published by THQ in 2003. Now, coming out of the gates, I have to tell you that I am a fan of this game, and I do like it. I beat it some years back, and as of this review, I'm already more than halfway through the game. But truthfully, this is not a very good game. I have to say, it is complete. There are no game-breaking defects or things that make this one unplayable. It's just that it's small, and there are so many things that they could have done to make it better. It's like they made a complete shell of a game, and they did the least amount of work to polish or playtest it, to figure out what it would take to make this one fun and complete, and appeal to a larger audience. In this game, you play the character of Ash Williams. He's a quick-talking action anti-hero. Ash is the hero from the Evil Dead series, obviously, and that's a series that spans 3 movies, a cable series, a bunch of video games, and a ton of comics. If you know the character and are a fan of that, you probably will enjoy bounding around the game as Ash Williams. Now, for those of you that are unaware of this, it goes like this. Years ago, Ash visited a cabin in the woods. There was an evil book there, the Necronomicon. The book was read, a spell was cast, and demon spirits came into our universe. Basically, they possess people or corpses, and those people become what are called deadites. They're basically zombies. Now, during this first encounter, his hand became possessed and he cut it off with the chainsaw. Long story short, he attached the chainsaw to his stump, and he also wields a shotgun, and eventually he ends up traveling back in time to medieval Europe, and he kills a bunch of villains. Then he comes back home. This game takes place after that. Okay, I'm going to summarize that plot again a little more concise. A spell is cast, monsters appear in the world, Ash fights them. He gets sent back in time, fights them there, and then he comes back home. Now that's what the story was. But it's also the exact same summary of this game. The collateral characters might be a little different, and instead of teleporting back to medieval times, you teleport back to colonial times. Yeah, it's an interesting change, but it's barely a change. It's the same plot. Honestly, I think it's time for Ash to have something slightly different. He deserves it, he's been through enough. But this is what we get. We get basically the same rough plot. Unfortunate. Now, I mentioned this game was small, and it is, I stand by that. You can see run-throughs online, and it takes about 4 hours to beat. That's if you know what to do and where to go, of course. If you don't know what to do, which is if it's a new game to you, and even for me, I'm no expert here, you won't know what to do right away initially, so it's going to take longer. But that also shouldn't be the point of a game, really. Just to waste time in the game. They make parts confusing enough to slow you down in this one. In my current run, it's going to take me probably 6 to 7 hours to finish it in total, and that's far too short for a game, I think. You want me to pay full price for a game, I'm looking for at least 15 plus hours of gameplay. I don't think that's hard to ask, especially considering some games take hundreds of hours. So, the time I'm spending in this game, like I said, 6 or 7 hours, this is only a result of one main problem. There is no map system in this game. You can't push a button and see where you've been, or where you need to go. So you have to keep running around to find the next destination. This makes you retread areas over and over again until you get yourself oriented. The streets or the terrain, they're going to be winding, they're going to go up and down, it's not going to be easy to follow. You have to memorize where things are. A map system would have fixed this immediately. And also it would shorten the game tremendously, which means they probably would have been forced to give us actually more content, which is something the game definitely needs. I guess the controls are okay overall. I mean, they're passable. There are weird things here, though. The D-pad only does one thing. It toggles the HUD on and off. This means it's wasting 3 possible directions on the D-pad. It only has one function. That seems like a mistake to me. You should have at least used one of those directions to trigger a map screen. Now remember, this is the Xbox original we're talking about here, so the controller is a little different than a 360 controller. And the controller is used like this. The X button uses your left-hand weapon. That would be, at first it's a shovel, eventually it's a shotgun, and there are some other weapons you pick up along the way. Guns, dynamite, stuff like that. The white button underneath it lets you cycle through the various weapons you have for your left weapon. The A button is your right weapon, which is your chainsaw for the most part. You do get other chainsaw-like items in the future. Basically, it's the weapon attached to the stump of your right hand, like in the movies. The black button lets you cycle through your right-hand weapons, when you get multiple. The Y button is your interaction with people, which you do very little in this game. And if you're not interacting with a person and press this button, you're going to say something clever. It's neat, I guess, but it's just a novelty, and it offers no real benefit. How many times are you going to press the Y button to hear your character say something clever? I'm not going to do it very much at all. The B button is your block button, which is something I've barely used in this game at all. If I can make it 60% of the way through a game and not have to use the block button, it makes me wonder exactly how useful it was designed to be here. The left trigger button will lock you onto a nearby enemy. This is another function that I completely forgot existed until I'm about halfway through the game. Mostly I think it's because I was using the shovel mostly. When I switch over to the shotgun, this trigger becomes much more useful. The right trigger will open your spellbook. When you get to use spells, you're going to get a few, but honestly, most of these spells are wasted. There's one spell in there. It says Possess Demon Dog. This spell was clearly inserted here to fill some space. There's one spot where you need to possess a dog to get past the door. That's it? What good is a spell if it's not repeatedly useful? There have to be spells here that I want to use as I play the game. This one is a total waste. It's literally there because, oh, you can't get through the door, but there's a dog over there. Oh, let's use this one spell and possess him. It's lame. If I'm not going to run around and find dogs everywhere, which you're not, what good is having this in there at all? It's total waste. It's like someone just needed to fill in the space. Truthfully here, I think they should have scrapped the entire spellcasting thing, 100%, and gone with something more useful. The only one spell that I really came back to using in this game would be the strength spell. When you're sort of having a team of deadites bearing down on you, I'd cast that so I can cut things up more easily with the chainsaw. That's kind of it. Alright, so now we'll get to the actual gameplay here. The moveset of your character is not extensive. You shoot, or you swing a chainsaw. I don't know, I think there should be more than this. I'm 50% of the way through a game before I actually see a particular move, where I shoot a shotgun over my shoulder, which is like in the movies. I was surprised to see it. The offensive moves that you normally perform, which would be holding your gun or swinging your shovel, they just seem bland. I guess there are apparently one or two combos according to the manual, but honestly, I've not needed or bothered to learn them. It would be great if you could learn or purchase different combos as you play, but nope, there's no advancement system like that. The chainsaw, I think, is the main novelty of the game because it's a major part of the character. The thing is that it's always on in this game, and it's always making noise and chugging away. Seriously, I'm a fan of the franchise, but I get sick of the chainsaw sound. When you're not even using it, it's making noise. It's just lame. The maps here are winding, they're confusing, and honestly, you can barely interact with stuff in them. This is definitely not an open world game, and you must pass 100 doors before you actually find one that opens. And I don't think there's anything special with the door animations either. We're just talking, they seem to have done just enough to get by. The right analog stick does let you reorient your camera, but it's reversed from what I'm used to in normal games, and they don't allow you to remap the controller. I think that's a miss. One huge omission in this game. Huge. There is no dodge button. If you get surrounded, good luck. If you even get close to being surrounded, you're going to start to feel helpless pretty quick. If you swing your chainsaw quick, you might start to see also where you're leaving yourself open for attack. You'll have a split second where you know that you've just left yourself open, and they're going to jump in to get you, and you have no way to get out of the way before getting hit. It's really frustrating to have no roll out of the way, no jump back. Hell, there's no jumping at all in this game. Why wouldn't you have a character be able to jump? It's weird. Now, one thing I do think, I think they use decent mapping textures on the walls. I mean, they look pretty good, but the world is still empty of stuff. It's just a place that feels empty. There's one car on the side of the road. There's just not enough stuff here. Maybe there's a mailbox. And you can't interact with anything. Almost nothing you see you can interact with. And if you're supposed to interact with a person, it might not be obvious. I wish there were more things in this game, even trash on the ground blowing around. And you should be able to interact with things. I should be able to kick over a mailbox. I should be able to damage a car, or maybe pick up some random item for a weapon. That would be great if we got that in this game. If you could pick up a mailbox and dump it on somebody, you could pick up a hubcap, whatever. It's something that seems like it would be so basic, I think it would really have gone a long way here. Now, when you defeat Deadites, they're going to drop magical energy, which you will automatically absorb. Or they might drop ammunition or possibly health packs, but you have to pick those up. Now, I'm not arguing the logic of why monsters are dropping bullets or band-aids in the first place. But I am arguing, why is it so damn difficult to pick up a health pack? You have to run directly over it. It's like there's no hit detection radius for the object while it's on the ground. I've run in circles around one of these objects and even died in combat because it wouldn't let me pick it up. I shouldn't have to walk away from an object just to have to turn around and aim and run right back towards it just to pick it up. That's a huge oversight. I think it's a serious miss also to not include any sort of experience or upgrade tree. I mean, you get most stuff in this game just by finding it somewhere in the map. You run over and you find that there's a gun there. Suddenly you have a gun and it's only available in one spot. But you're going to be running to every crevice and corner of these maps, so you're going to find it. But what fun is finding that? It's not. It just seems like, you know, they put these things in the game for you to stumble on. Okay, as opposed to, you know, giving you some sort of a progression tree. There should be some sort of an experience every time you kill a Deadite. You should be able to customize your character a bit as you get, you know, better at the game. Let me buy more health, or let me buy more speed or offense. Give me that sense of accomplishment and growth in the game. I think it would have done excellent in this game. I mean, there are interesting bits of detail in this from time to time, like, I don't know, I thought the museum looked pretty good. It made sense to me as a layout. The paintings in the museum were nice, or possibly this area. Now, in the basement of the museum, I found a dead cop behind a boiler. And for some reason, this body is next to a box of tissues. I have no idea what story is attempting to be told here. So, moving on. Overall, the story is a retread, and it's remarkably non-remarkable. Not memorable at all. But still, all these annoyances that I've talked about, this is kind of a game designed for fans, I think. If you like the character, you're probably going to be happy with anything that they give you, flaws and all. I enjoyed this game enough, but I also enjoyed the game enough to be frustrated at how limited it actually is. I just wish there were more that was being offered here, and I think the character is ripe for a really good game. But we've yet to get something on the quality of Resident Evil. I mean, how great would that be? Well, that's all I have today for Evil Dead Fistful of Boomstick for the Xbox. Thanks for stopping by for a look, and I'll catch you on another video.